All right, this is a big one. This is where we take those little math problems and we kind of combine it into the official forms that you would actually be using. Um, According to your book, we need to complete the payroll registry entries for Judy and Mike for the semi-monthly pay period ending July 15th. Use the tax withholding table shown on lesson 12.2. Use tax rate 6.2 and Social Security tax of 1.45. Neither employee has reached the tax base. So I don't know if you read, but you should have read that a tax base is basically saying that once you have earned a certain amount of money, they stop withholding that particular tax. And so this is saying that neither one of them have actually earned that tax base. A lot of times you'll see this happen towards the end of the year whenever a person has earned a significant amount of money. For each employee, withhold $60 for health insurance and $15 for U.S. savings bonds pay per period. And then we're going to total all the amount columns of the payroll register and prove the payroll register. So we're going to do some math just like we were doing on the other ones. Now it's just in a different format. So you can see here my total earnings. I'm going to take my regular plus my overtime, and I'm going to end up with 1,079. For Mike, I take my 920 plus the 5175. I end up with 971.75. For federal income tax, remember this is where you turn in your books to those pages that have the bright pink. That's 347 and 348. For Judy, she's married and has 2 allowances. I find her total earnings of that 1,079, and I discover that her federal income tax is $48. And then for Mike, I look for the 971.75. He is single with 1 allowance, and so his withholding is $95. Now, FICA tax here is like Federal Insurance Contributions Act. That's Social Security and Medicare combined into one. Oh, okay, so yours, I see that mine's slightly different here, so let me just go ahead and insert a column. So yours says Social Security and Medicare. So Social Security is at 6.2%. So we're looking at 66.90 and 60.25. Medicare is the 1.45. We're looking at 15.65 and 14.09. Now, according to the instructions in the book for health insurance, we're supposed to put 60 for each employee. And then underneath of the other, they have savings bonds of $15. And so we're going to put a capital B and then $15. We're going to do the same thing for both of them. So you'll see here that the payroll register is broken down into the earnings section and then the deductions section. So here we have a total for our earnings. Now we have a total for our deductions. So we're going to add federal income tax, Social Security, Medicare, health insurance, and other. For Judy, we end up with 205.55. And for Mike, we end up with 244.34. Then we need to calculate net pay. Net pay would be our total earnings minus our total deductions. So his paycheck, what he brings home, is going to be $873.45 for her. And then for him, it's going to be $727.41. Now, right now, you're not going to have a check number in here. This will be like later on, you'll write a check and then you jump back to your payroll register and record which check number you actually had. So currently right now, we are going to be leaving that blank. I believe when we go to do 12.4 work together, you'll actually see that we'll fill in that number. So then the other instruction here says that we're going to total the amount columns of the payroll register and prove. So we are going to do totals. And you're going to total each column. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug in those numbers for you. So there's our earnings columns. Then we have our deduction columns. Okay, and then you would have your net income of 1,686. So how do you actually prove it? Well, whenever I add these, so essentially what I did whenever I entered these numbers in was I just added the columns, but I could also prove it by actually going across and treating this as if it were like one employee. So does 1960 plus 9075 equal 2050? And then does 2050 minus my 449 equal 1,686? And that's how I prove that I've actually done it correctly. So we've done a total, so we want to have a nice bold line here. And then we're going to double rule this. Okay. Which I know is hard to see, but if you see that I zoomed in, there it is, I double rolled it. Okay, so that's step 1 and 2 of 12.3. Step 3 is to prepare the quarterly earnings record for Ms. Hensley. So you'll see here that the payroll register includes all of my employees. Now in this particular instance, it's only 2 employees, but the earnings record is specific to 1 employee. And so this is where you're going to see all the information just related to, in this case, Judy. So all you're really doing is you are taking Judy's information right here, going across the top here. So this 1040, 39, 1079, all these numbers going across, and you are going to put them in her earnings here. So she's actually going to be in 1, but your book gives you some information. So it says prepare quarterly earnings record for Miss Hensley for the quarter ended September 30th. So quarter ended, we're going to put September 30th up here. And then it says to enter the July 15 payroll information. So we are looking at July 15th. That's what we're going to have here. So we're going to have 715 there. Ms. Hensley employee number is 5. Her name, going with last name, first name, middle initial, we're going to do Hensley Judy. Her marital status is, well, we can get that from over here on this one. So her marital status is married with 2 allowances. So over here, we're going to go marital status. She is married. Her withholding allowances are going to be 2. Her rate of pay is $13. Her social security number is 543690123. And then her position is a sales clerk. Okay, so employee number, rate of pay, her name, her social security number, her marital status, her withholdings, and her sales clerk position. So quarter ended. So remember, quarters are going to be every 3 months. So March, June, September, and December. So our July 15th payroll would fall into this 3rd quarter. And I am going to transfer these numbers over. So her regular is going to be 140, 39, 1079, 48. Now this is, remember I made, mine's different than yours. Let me fix it real quick. So we have here Social Security, Medicare, sorry about that. So Social Security is $66.90, Medicare is $15.65, health insurance of $60, other of that B15. Her total being $205.55, and then her net pay is $873.45. Now clear over here on the right hand side, you have your accumulated earnings, and right up above that is basically a number that would have come from the previous quarter. And according to your book, accumulated earnings at the end of the second quarter, so we're starting the third quarter, is 13,520. And so we're going to add our accumulated earnings of 13,520, and we're going to add our total earnings. Now you're doing gross earnings, so you're going to add this 1,079, and we're going to end up with 14,599. And that is a earnings record. So we have a payroll register, which has my whole register of employees. And then an employee earnings record is specific to that one employee. So if I ever needed to look up anything about Judy, like what she's getting paid, what her position was, you know, let's say a new employee started, I could easily find out all that information right there. All right, as usual, if you have any questions, please reach out.